Leading up to a special session to deal with the world's drug problem, 1,000 leaders worldwide signed a letter to the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon urging him to allow the necessary debates in order to change the policies surrounding the disastrous drug war. So this General Assembly special session is taking place on April 19th of this year. It's going to last a few days. And this is the first time since 1998 that a special session has been called to deal specifically with the world's drug problem. So back in 1998, the slogan for the UN was a drug-free world. We can do it. But obviously, we've seen with the drug war and the kind of prison industrial complex that it's created that it's actually been quite a bit of a disaster. So this special session, it was initially actually proposed by Mexican and Latin governments back in 2012, and now we will actually be having that session. So this letter that was written was signed by 1,000 different world leaders, including former presidents, prime ministers, scholars, celebrities, clergymen, business leaders, elected officials, et cetera, et cetera. And it kind of just displays the sort of solidarity against the failures of the drug war. And this letter has this to say. It says, the drug control regime that emerged during the last century has proven disastrous for global health, security, and human rights, focused overwhelmingly on criminalization and punishment. It created a vast illicit market that has enriched criminal organizations, corrupted governments, triggered explosive violence, distorted economic markets, and undermined basic moral values. It goes on to say humankind cannot afford a 21st century drug policy as ineffective and counterproductive as the last centuries. So as I said before, I think what's so great about this story is just the amount of people that are coming together over these feelings of, you know, the drug war being completely inadequate. The letter also cites the racial component, the fact that low income and minority populations are, you know, unequally targeted in this issue. They talk about how the spread of HIV/AIDS and hepatitis and other like diseases, they spread more rapidly as a result of this sort of prohibitive mindset. So, and then they also mentioned the fact that medical cannabis is something that's become more and more supported throughout the years. So it's basically just underpinning the fact that the drug war has been a major failure. What do you think?
I definitely agree with that, and that's something that we seem to be talking more and more about as the drug war becomes a bigger and a bigger failure year after year. And in that quote that you just read, I want to focus on one part when they talk about the policies so far and how they have really focused on criminalization, and that is really the issue. And that's something that Obama has talked about a lot too recently, talking about how we need to remove the stigmas, remove the taboos, remove the way that we treat people who are addicted to drugs. Throwing them in jail is not going to help anything. All that does is just make for a more illicit, illegal drug trade. All it does is lock people up so that they can come out and become more dependent on drugs and go back in again. It just creates this catch-22 that really doesn't solve any issues.
It gives drug cartels a total market, you know what I mean? And I mean, Bernie Sanders talks a lot about that too, the fact that drug use is more of a health issue than it is a crime issue. You have people that have mandatory minimum sentencing. They're in jail for pretty much their whole lives for nonviolent drug offenses. I mean, it's just been a huge issue.
It's also Ban Ki-moon. You know, Ban Ki-moon's on his way out. They're about to replace him. So, I mean, this could be a pretty good final goodbye, you know, before they get a new head of the UN.
Well, I mean, considering this special session is specifically to deal with that, I think it's good to just highlight the importance of the discussion needing to change and that actual true reforms need to take place. So the initiative was put together by the Drug Policy Alliance, which is an organization of people who, as I've said, have talked about how the war on drugs is doing more harm than good. It doesn't really focus on studies based in science or compassion or health or human rights. So the leader of that, the executive director, Ethan Nadelman, he had this to say with regards to the letter. He said, "Never before have so many respected voices joined together in calling for fundamental reform of drug control policies, in particular limiting the role of criminalization and criminal justice to the extent truly required to protect health and safety." So I think this is great. I mean, like I said, this is a huge list of people. You have, you know, Bernie Sanders, you have Elizabeth Warren, Warren Buffett, Gloria Steinem, and then you even have Mary J. Blige and you know,
DJ Khaled.
Of course, DJ
Khaled signed it too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that tells you how expansive this whole thing is. So we will see how the special session goes. We'll see if more legislation is passed or if at least the discussion is beginning. But at the very least, this is a step in the right direction for the war on drugs.